Hello and welcome to Legend of Games, and today I'm going to talk over some pre-recorded footage of Hollow Knight Silksong. The reason it's pre-recorded is boring technical stuff. My capture, what I was using to capture it, I spoke at length while playing it for this video and didn't capture my voice or it did capture the game audio, but it wasn't embedded into the file, so I had to give it a bit of fun finding a sync point and syncing it up, which is all very boring, but it's a bit of a relief that I didn't capture my recording, because I was going to have to correct myself, because I think I said Hollow Knight a lot, and this is actually Hollow Knight Silksong, the sequel to Hollow Knight. This starts off, I captured playing on a Nintendo Switch 2, I should say, and I captured some of the boss fights when I completed them, and I just lay these down at the start to show that I'm not completely inept at the game, although I have. Here we go. Now this is actual footage, and yeah, apologies if the sync is out by a few frames. It's the best I could do. But yeah, this is Hollow Knight Silksong on a Nintendo Switch 2. I played an embarrassing number of hours of it to not get that far. In the context of the game, I've just beaten the black... No, she's not the Black Widow, she's just the Widow. I presume it's a she. That spider thing that was in the video just then. And I don't soldier on with the story much in this video. I go and do a side mission. But I mean, I don't know if spoiler is the right word for this game. It's all quite vague and lovely, I should say. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on myself, to be honest. I'm this character with the horns called not Wasp, Hornet. Called Hornet, and yeah, it's sort of, I'm trying to get to a location called the Citadel, where a lot of these people are, at least I think it's called the Citadel, but they are all on pilgrimages to there. There's some sort of religious-y stuff, there's rosaries and stuff, which is the currency. All these guys were sort of in a state of stasis until I beat the Hornet character. Not Hornet character, that's me. Didn't beat myself. The Widow. Everything's bug-like. I presume that's like the first game, Hollow Knight, which I haven't actually played Hollow Knight, the original. So there's that context too. In fact, I knew so little about it that I actually didn't realise that the protagonist of this game was different to the protagonist of Hollow Knight, which is pretty stupid, because now I've seen images of Hollow Knight. He is a little knight, whereas this time I am Hornet, who I think, and I mean this is just through osmosis that I know this, I think was in the first game, but I haven't played it, so I'm not entirely sure. I think from what I've read, this is a harder game than Hollow Knight. I mean, I don't think Hollow Knight's a cakewalk. Having not played it, I can't say, but from what I've read, it is a difficult game, and that's primarily why I've spent so long getting not very far. And I should say that I'm not being negative about the game, because I really, really, really like it. I don't think I'll complete it. I think I'm not good enough at these kind of games to think. I mean, maybe I will, but and definitely the boss fights showed at the start, they are getting easier, which is good. Not easier that's the wrong. The more I do, the more. Yeah, like I'm getting better at the game, and it's a funny game. To use a well-worn phrase, it is a Metroidvania, which, I mean, I guess the thing is as well, from another context, I haven't ever played Hollow Knight. I haven't played many Metroidvanias. Like, or actually, I should say, I haven't played many of the Metroids or Castlevanias either. So maybe that's why I'm finding it more difficult. But I think the only Metroidvania I've played in earnest, or actually to near completion, is Metroid Dread, which is some context, which is definitely a more modern one of them. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, just something, like, my sense of direction isn't great in games like this. The taxing combat is definitely normally puts me off, but I'm really enjoying it in this game. So, I mean, this was probably a staple of Metroidvania. You don't necessarily, it's not like an RPG where you're getting stronger. Well, I guess, I've seen it, people reference Dark Souls when they talk about this game, and games like that. I mean, I have played a lot of games, but in terms of Dark Souls, I've only ever played, of those type of games, I've played Bloodborne, and I got quite far in that, but I found the bosses quite difficult, which they should be. I think I got to a witch in a graveyard or something. If there's any context there. But yeah, I enjoyed Bloodborne a lot, and I can kind of see it's a bit like Dark Souls in some of its combat and the boss fights. Although I read an article about this and I agree, it's like not having health on the bosses in the boss fights like this game does, unlike the Dark Souls games, I believe. Bloodborne definitely did. It's a weird psychological thing, like, you don't know how much more you have to hit the boss. So I feel like it's actually good when you're fighting the bosses not seeing how much health they've got left. So there isn't that temptation, when they've got like a little bit of health left, to just fucking wail on it. And yeah, I think psychologically, when you don't know how much health the boss has left, you're more cautious. And that actually leads me on to a point about this game. It really does reward patience, and you can't just sort of play it mindlessly unless you get to a point where it's all second nature. But yeah, unless you're thinking about what you're doing, you can lose everything and die in like really stupid situations. In fact, I do in this video. But yeah, back to, so you don't necessarily, it's not like an RPG, you don't level up your health, or you don't get stronger and stuff. But and this is a Metroidvania thing, I'm sure of it, your tool set gets better. So this area here, the wormways. Yeah, wormways. I came here maybe, hours ago in the game. I came into here to do something, and it was difficult because I didn't have that dash there that I'm using, and I don't think I had the floaty thing where you puff out your it's a cape, isn't it? It's not a dress, to make sort of descending easier, and I definitely didn't have the wall jump thing, which I've got. So this area was much harder without all of those tools, but I can definitely get in here, and I did get in here, and I got something from the wormways. yeah, and it is that. Yeah, normally that sort of type of game doesn't really speak to me, but in terms of, you don't necessarily get stronger, but you get more tools and areas get easier. And and that is again like Bloodborne, which my sort of Souls-like point of reference. I remember that, that is the area with you start where you're in like Victorian London-y sort of setting, and the more tools you got, although I believe you did get stronger in Dark Souls, didn't you? I could be wrong on that. The more an area that seemed just like it was going to be a nightmare for the entire game, suddenly would become, somewhere which you didn't really think to get through. But that contradicts what I was saying, but you have to be thinking all the time in this game. But it is an incredibly difficult game, but addictively difficult. There's a balance to it that I find addictive, incredibly well designed in terms of it's not unattainable to complete as far as I've got, and I've looked at a few guides and stuff, just simply because I'm not that good at these sort of games, and I wanted to know where to go or make sure I wasn't going off a completely stupid tangent. And when I've read guides, it was like you see, I don't want to spoil bits for myself, but it will say, it said about the widow boss that I did. It was like, she's really difficult. And I was like, well, okay, probably when I reach that point, I'll give up, because if this guide's saying she's really difficult, I'm not that great at these sort of games, I probably will just give up. And actually I found her easier than there's a boss earlier in the game who's, I think, optional as well, which speaks to how much I'm enjoying it. There's an optional boss, I think it's called the Savage Beast Fly, and you got from it like I can't remember the word for it, but you get basically like a loadout, call it, maybe not, that's not the right word, but you get like an ability. There it is, what's it called? Crests, they're called crests. And I believe I use the Hunter crest. But yeah, from the Savage Beast Fly you get the Beast crest, and for all intents and purposes, I've not used it once. So I didn't need to beat this thing, and I found it irritatingly difficult. Not irritatingly difficult, that's the wrong word. I found it incredibly difficult, but it became something I needed to beat for my own sanity. I found it difficult because some of the bosses have like these smaller enemies come in and help them, and that becomes a thing on itself, because you don't want to fill the arena with, which sometimes, and especially the Savage Beast, like, was a tiny area, and this big fly just filled it with other enemies, and so you're kind of trying to clear the area of the other enemies, and whilst dealing with a fucking massive fly that's trying to kill you. And I found that really difficult, but I persevered, and I think it took me maybe, I'm going to say probably over 30 attempts for this optional boss, and I beat it, and I'm very, and then funnily enough, there was another boss called, and I captured, it was the Morrow Wing or something wing, and I read that was a very difficult boss, and but it didn't call in any of its mates, and I found it even though it was technically more difficult than from everything I read, than this beast fly thing, I found it easier, and I guess that is rinse and repeat on that. But yeah, so that I found the Morrowind boss fight, like I say, easier than Savage Beastfly. I don't think it is. I can't remember what it's. Something Morrowind. But then after that, there was another boss. I'm not just going to reel off all the bosses I've beaten, and I'm certainly not showing off because they've all been. I've made harder work than most, I'm sure, on them. There was a boss called Sister Splinter, I think. Sister Sledge. And that was. Again, I think I found it easier than the Beastfly thing. Yeah, and that did call in little things that look like the Groot, the tree from Guardians of the Galaxy. She called these things in, and I don't know. I'm learning, and I think that's the fact that I want to learn, and I haven't just put it down. Interestingly, like, I'm playing this on a Nintendo Switch, and this is not a criticism of the game, because I think it's a brilliant game. It's a criticism of the concept of subscription gaming, in particular Game Pass. I think this is on Game Pass. I'm certain it is, or almost certain. I don't think I am. No, I definitely know that if I'd have played this on Game Pass, I would have given up, and that is because I didn't pay for it. And I don't know that. I imagine a lot of people take this attitude. It's like, yeah, because I made an investment in the game, I was like, no, I am going to persevere. Whereas if I'd picked it up on Game Pass, I might have found it a little bit hard. I certainly did early on, and I would have been like, do you know what, it's not for me. And there were certainly times in that Beastfly fight, I was like, do you know what, I'm never going to play this game again, but I persevered and beat it. I wouldn't have done that if I had played it on a Game Pass or any subscription service. And I guess that is, I think that is, I'm going to say that's like, I think that's psychologically for any, like, I have Spotify. If I bought an album on vinyl, I don't have a CD player in this house, but I do have record. But yeah, I think I'd give that album more listens. I know I would, than if it was on Spotify, and I'd give it more consideration and I think if I started watching a film on Netflix and it wasn't for me, I'd just turn it off. But if I had paid to go and see that film in the cinema, I wouldn't walk out of the cinema. So yeah, that's kind of going off a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, so weird consumerism. I'm saying I'm glad I paid for this game, and I am glad I paid for this game, because I think it is even with the being fairly confident that I will never complete this game. I've yet to hit a brick wall, but I think I will. I do think that it's definitely I know it's the best game I've played this year. Well, that is my opinion, and I don't think that's not that wild an opinion. It's not like saying Drag X Drive. I haven't played that, so that's me bitching on a game that I haven't played. But yeah, it's not that out there an opinion, but I think it's the best thing I will play this year. It looks, just for reasons, the gameplay is amazing, but it also looks and sounds beautiful. It's really atmospheric. Yeah, it's really good. I love it. And yeah, I will play it until I hit a brick wall, which hopefully isn't that soon. Yeah, so that's that difficulty, and yeah, I mean, I guess maybe this will start a new phase of me playing games. Maybe I'll get into Metroidvanias, but yeah, so I don't know if it's a trope of this series or a trope of the genre in the whole, but like patience is the most important thing for success in this game, in my opinion. Like this bit we're in now is called the worm ways, although they're more like look that wormy, but then I guess if they look wormy then. So yeah, that was just me rushing my death there. There's a couple of times in this video I've just hit the right point. But yeah, patience is really a virtue in this game. So I've got to get, let's talk about the actual game. So I've got to get back to that white blob there. And if I don't, I lose everything. But maybe it's just my mentality, but my mentality is like, get back to that as quickly as possible. But that is contradicting what what I should be doing, because these fuckers are taking off 2 lumps of health at a go. So I need to be as patient as possible and to get back there. Not do anything stupid. I do think at some point I do something stupid and I lose everything, which, I mean, I'm not going to lose it. No. So yeah, I should talk about the actual mechanics of the game. Your health are the little skulls up there, which don't look much like your head. I guess you'd lose it. No, not really. I don't know why. And then underneath that you've got the white bar, which will, if you crack that, when it's full, you get all your you get 3 pips of health back. So if you're on one of those little skulls, you only go to 4. That's fairly basic. And you've got currencies, which are the silver things that pop out, and not going to pop out of that enemy. And then you have also rosaries, which other enemies, little white red blobs that come out of other enemies. And so the silver things that come out of enemies, they are that tops. So you've got like projectiles, I guess. And when you use those projectiles, when you get 12 of them, and then if I use 10 of them, it would take out of my silver currency. That's sort of those flowers there, just going off on a different tangent, are kind of environmental clues that the blue things that guy in the laboratory wanted me to, that he the thing he needs me to extract the flower is near. Yeah, a lot of environmental storytelling and clues. Yeah, there you go, the flower's near. And this little section here is kind of a beautiful, it's, like I can't remember what the word is. Oh, that was stupid. It's just how perfect the platforming is. Like, it's just the right level of difficulty. If it any easier, and what's the point of going in there? Any harder, and it's like, well, I'm never going to get out of there, so I'm going to quit the game. And there I am, dead again. Yeah, so dying there leaves me to go and get my egg sack again. Egg sack? What is it? I'm sure it's got some name, but I'm going to say the word patience again. all the way back there, and I do, at some point I do lose everything. Those things take it. There you go. Use the P word, patience, and then I've lost everything, all of that, which brings me back to currency. Yeah, I think I had about 100, just under 100 rosaries, which is, so the silver things, that doesn't disappear when you die, that currency, but the little red orbs that I'm sure earlier a character might spat out, they're called rosaries, and they, so far I've needed them to buy things like keys, actually a key to get into this worm ways, and I think, yeah, other weapons and things. Yeah, I think it's all, I mean the key isn't optional because I needed to get into, although, no, I have needed to be in this area for something, I believe. Or maybe I could have got into that area another way. But yeah. So I think the rosaries are an optional currency. Like, there's all the weapons I've had. In fact, I forget I've got them a lot of the time. Yeah, so if I was to use that little meter on the left that looks like a battery, or a big white battery underneath all the skulls, if I press A on the Switch controller, yeah, it is A, I was just looking at one, that would get all my health up, but if I press the shoulder button, I do like a big stabbing motion. But yeah, but that won't use my currency. But if I use shoulder plus X, I believe, I fire out a projectile, and then you can get other different things like a little trap, basically, or stuff. Yeah, I don't usually use enough, but I forget I've got them a lot of the time. But you could, I presume, you could complete the game without spending that money on that. But the things like my agility and moving around and stuff, that is all gained from beating bosses, so I haven't needed the rosaries to upgrade there. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up soon because there's not much more of this video, and I mean I could say a lot more about it. I think it's a really good game, but there's not much more time for me to say it. It is really good. It is, like I say, on Game Pass if that's your thing. I mean, maybe no one else has psychologically my attitude, but I'm not in no means they wouldn't pay me to tell the few people who watch this channel to buy it, but I'm not being endorsed by anyone, but I would recommend buying it, and I think it's definitely one of the best things I've played in a long time. Apologies if I've said Hollow Knight a lot, because it's called Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm not inclined to play Hollow Knight saying all this, but maybe it will be when I hit my head on a brick wall of difficulty on this. Maybe I will get Hollow Knight and continue to endorse these sort of fund these, small part, but continue to put money into games like this, which, yeah, maybe I'm a big Metroidvania person now. This has been Learning to Love Games, your probably worst place to get opinions on Metroidvanias, because this is the first or second I've ever played. But yeah, do like and subscribe and all that if you have, and have a really good day. Thank you. Goodbye. As ever, if you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe. It means a lot and it really helps the channel. So thank you very much. Bye.